listening to ethanol-free radio right here on AFR Talk on Focal Point. High definition radio, more content per cubic inch of air than any other place on your radio dial. That is our goal. Now let's grab a couple of sound bites. Amy, would you let me know if you can find soundbite number 16? It is the Chris Matthews clip, and I want to play that back-to-back with clip number 10, if we can get it. That is the George Will and Donna Brazile clip. We're having some technical problems with our switcher, and that's why it's a little bit cumbersome for the director to find those clips. So, but I want to play these two clips back-to-back, the number 16 Chris Matthews clip, and then the George Will, Donna Brazile clip number 10, because what's going on with the left-wing media is they're no longer doing journalism. We saw this with Todd Aiken. They're no longer doing journalism. They are playing word association games. So somebody uses a word, if the winger leftists on the media, if they can associate that word with another word, and then associate that word with a still different word, and associate that word with yet another word, they can turn you into a Nazi for saying that you like a vanilla soft ice cream cone at Sonic, which, by the way, is a great ice cream cone, and it's only $1. But they're playing word association games. Now, here is Chris Matthews, and listen to the word that he says. If a conservative says this word, he's a racist. Let's listen.
Is this constant barrage of assault, saying the guy is basically playing an old game of demagoguery politics where you take the money from the worker bees and give it to the poor people to buy votes? That's basically what they're charging him with. Yeah. Old big style, big city machine of 50 years ago.
Sure. Well, look.
They keep saying Chicago, by the way. Have you noticed?
Chicago.
They keep saying Chicago. That's another thing that sends that message. This guy's helping the poor people in the bad neighborhoods. Us in the burbs.
There's a lot of black people in Chicago.
I think that may have something to do with it.
So Chris Matthews said, look, you use the word Chicago, that's a racist word. If a conservative says Chicago, it's racist because you got all this crime, and you got all these black people. Now, who is the one that when he hears the word Chicago thinks black people? It's Chris Matthews. He's the guy that's the racist. He's the guy that's obsessed with race. Somebody says Chicago to me, I think Chicago Bears. I think Chicago White Sox. I think deep dish pizza. I think Rahm Emanuel. What does Chris Matthews think of when he hears the word Chicago? He thinks of black people. Who, ladies and gentlemen, is the racist here? I submit to you, it is Chris Matthews. Now, here is George Will. This is how you deal with it. George Will, conservative economist. He's on with Donna Brazile, who is a Democratic strategist, on a Sunday morning talk show. Here's how their exchange went yesterday.
A subtext of all this is that we're all racist. Can I ask you a question? What is the largest city in Illinois?
Chicago.
You're a racist.
No. Well,
now, the guys over at MSNBC have said that when the Republicans talk about Chicago, that's a subtext for racism.
So there's Donna Brazile, George Will, calling her out on it. She used the word Chicago. That makes her a flat-out, bona fide racist. By the way, the Democrats, remember, are the ones that are opposing voter ID. They oppose this. Eric Holder will take any state to court who tries to pass a voter ID law that says you've got to show a government-issued, state-issued form of photo ID in order to be able to vote. Now, this is just common sense. Protecting the integrity and the sacredness of the ballot box, that is the foundation of democracy. You cannot have a representative form of government. You cannot have a republic unless you protect the integrity of the vote. That's foundational. That's fundamental. That is the foundation of any Republican form of government. And so when these state legislatures are trying to pass these photo ID laws, these voter ID laws, they're simply trying to protect a Republican form of government. The Democrats fight it tooth and nail. They do not want voter ID laws. And the only reason, ladies and gentlemen, the only reason they would want to do that is they want to protect the opportunity to cheat. Now, it turns out, let me grab that story out of the stack here. Oh, man. It turns out that if you go to the DNC, which starts today, if you go to the DNC, you have to show photo ID even to get near the place. To get in the place, you got to show it 3 times. So the Democrats will not even let you inside the convention hall unless you have shown a state-issued government photo ID 3 separate times. This is right out of the regulations for the convention website. All pickup persons, authorized pickup, all pickup persons must have a state-issued ID that matches the name submitted below. Now think about it. Unions, you got to have photo ID to vote in a union election. If you're going to go into a union hall, vote on a union contract, you've got to show photo ID. You got to show photo ID to buy cold medicine, use a check, take an airplane flight. And here's another excerpt from the convention website. Pedestrians walking to their home or business that falls into a restricted area will be required to provide identification when the road is closed. Listen to this. This is if you want to go to your own house. You want to go to your own shop. You want to go to your own business. And if the Democrats have blocked that off, if the road is closed for security reasons for the convention, you got to show photo ID even to get into your own house, your own neighborhood. Passenger vehicles attempting to enter streets with restricted vehicle access must go through a vehicle checkpoint. What type of identification is required? A standard issued government ID is required. Now I want to talk about this Ron Paul thing, and I want to get you calling in on this. The number is 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. What you think about a Ron Paul third-party candidacy.